Today, Housing and Urban Development Secretary Ben Carson toured new affordable housing in San Francisco to highlight just how hard it is to build more of it in the city. And KPIX 5's Wilson Walker says the secretary blames that on San Francisco itself. Right, Wilson?
Right. Well, just about the time the president plane was landing, Secretary Carson was arriving at that housing development in San Francisco, and we didn't get really to see the tour. That was sort of a behind-the-scenes affair. But when it was done, the secretary did make some comments on pretty much all things San Francisco housing and homelessness.
Dr. Carson, it's no lie. You're the reason we sleep outside.
As you might expect, the protesters arrived well before the HUD secretary's motorcade.
I would like to know how much is it costing the city of San Francisco to pay for Ben Carson's safety?
Kind of a spectacle in the neighborhood today.
It was. Hopefully it's for a good thing.
Well, there's no question that the local policies drive these kinds of issues. There is absolutely no question about that.
Ben Carson was speaking from inside one of the city's new affordable housing developments right across the street from one of the city's old developments now set for replacement. And Carson placed the blame for the city's housing struggles squarely on the city.
In San Francisco, a single individual can protest and stop an affordable housing development. That's a big one. I mean, look at this facility. This is not a horrible facility by any stretch of the imagination. But, you know, one of the big problems, and nobody wants to talk about it, is NIMBYism. You know, not in my backyard.
Carson says public-private partnerships are the answer to housing needs, not more federal money. But he did acknowledge one area where the government might need to do more.
We need to acknowledge that perhaps the government made some mistakes when it abandoned a lot of people who aren't capable of taking care of themselves.
Outside, protesters were angry that they did not get a chance to speak with Carson, but a handful of residents did. Uzuri Peace Green, who is formerly homeless, was one of them.
So for me, I always look at the glasses half full, and I try and give people the benefit of the doubt. So for me, I'm like, okay, well, let me just share with you positive things that are coming up out of the community, and then see if he takes it from there.
All right, so there you have it. If you are a San Francisco YIMBY, Ben Carson is on your team. Now, as Lynn mentioned, there was sort of the noticeable absence today, and that was local officials. There was really no one from the city on hand with Ben Carson today. He was asked about that. He said he had not had any contact with the mayor since he has been in San Francisco. Live in San Francisco, Wilson Walker, KPIX 5.